Where's my D20? Gobbo! Hello and welcome to Hobb's Horror Stories. I am Hob, your Hobgoblin narrator, back this week to provide more great TTRPG horror stories for you. This week we have a story about a part-time player coming in to play an NPC when everything gets screwed up. Today's story comes from Reddit on r/rpghorrorstories and was written by Listlessly Lost. The title of today's story is Main Character Syndrome: The Game. This isn't exactly the worst D&D experience, but it was pretty bad for me and just made me not want to be a part of this party anymore afterwards, mostly due to one player. Everyone else was amazing. I'm not the greatest at the game, but I do enjoy having a lighthearted brief encounter in sessions. I play mostly to ease away from just having the most serious campaigns. I've DM'd once before, and that was an improv campaign that my classmates and friends enjoyed on the on and off days of my other friends' campaigns. The context for today's story is that I was going with my sister to one of her friends' group's D&D sessions, most of them being much older and in their late to mid-20s. I was just going in to be the NPC follower that they have that was pretty much a half-elf that was level 5, a cleric that multiclassed into bard at level 3. She was a very kind and timid character and wasn't the best at confrontation on the surface, but could do pretty well being the party's mediator, which was compiled of a human fighter/warlock, the main player of this issue, a tiefling rogue/mage, the jovial troublemaker, a dwarven barbarian/artificer, my brother-in-law, and finally a homebrew race archer, no multiclassing here. The DM's wife, who wasn't getting any special treatment. There is a bit more context to have about the campaign we're doing. It is in a homebrew world that the DM expertly worked on and planned very well for things to go awry. When we had started the campaign, I was with the rogue and the barbarian was going around town. Me, fitting the character, was essentially babysitting the rogue and the barbarian was my muscle, as the party was split doing errands before they set out for a dragon-slaying quest. I was going to various stalls getting rations and stopping the rogue from stealing when I had asked the DM what he thought of me making a persuasion check for getting a bakery from a sleazy noble who was upcharging the prices of everything. He allowed it, and when I had asked the noble the price, he said he'd sell the bakery for 3 platinum pieces. I in turn rolled a persuasion check and got a nat 20, in which I asked if I could buy it for just 1 gold. The noble, who the DM admitted wasn't very charismatic, failed his check, sold me the bakery. We were going to be in town for a while, so side money wasn't a bad idea, and it was intended to be a very long campaign. I then reduced the prices to much fairer standards and made bank. This wasn't known to the fighter, who was being micro-DM'd by the wife, whose character was resting due to being poisoned from the previous session with said dragon. Okay, quick interruption here. I don't care what kind of nat 20 you get on a persuasion check. Maybe they'll knock the price from 3 platinum down to 2 platinum and 5 gold. You're not going to get the price knocked down from 3 platinum, which is 30 gold, down to 1 gold. That's ridiculous. That's just absurd. That's like me going into a bank trying to get a loan, and they're like, you need a down payment of $10,000. And I give them a wink and a smile, and they tell me, nah, you know what? How about you just pay $3,000, and we'll call it a day. Bunch of bullshit. Alright, back to the story. This is where the session got really fun. The fighter was one of those people who didn't really listen to other characters and just made plans on his own. It wasn't very enjoyable in my opinion, but it was fine, and the DM and I put up with it. It had been a skip of a few weeks, and the bakery had earned me over 5 platinum, and the fighter had blown all his money on the helmets of short teleportation due to the plan he had constructed, and no one wanting to give him money from the past session fails. I came up with a brilliant idea to offer the fighter a trade. 1 platinum chip if he listened to my plan. He begrudgingly agreed. I simply wanted to go along for the sleigh quest, and he had to listen to 1 suggestion when the fight had started. Me and the DM hatched the plan that I would get a helmet and the fighter wouldn't, in which I could attempt to befriend the adult green dragon, and if it failed, I'd teleport out with my helmet and the fight would ensue. The fighter didn't take this well, and when we got into position before the dragon, as he put it, "But I'm the hero! I can't let that happen! You're a frail cleric that can't even offer the dragon anything in return." It's best to put this here, but the fighter never even bothered to look at the NPC sheet, in which the only other language that I knew was Draconic. I then took his helmet, twisting the whole main character shtick, saying he couldn't back out of this. I then apprehensively approached the dragon and offered it a simple but large card of pastries and gold. I made another persuasion check and just barely got the dragon to agree to accept my gift and listen. I offered it to become the lord of a rather large village to the south if it would simply become my ally in my time of need. It agreed if it could occasionally still come to the kingdom to obtain its tax for this. I ensured I would try my best to make amends between it and the king who sought its head. This threw the nearly 30-year-old fighter into a tantrum that he wanted the fame and glory of slaying the dragon. Me and the DM were laughing that our plan to make the fighter have a slight inconvenience, as while I did conspire with the DM, we didn't go against the dice. This is how in the next few short months of the campaign, the dragon had become a lord of the land to the Kingdom of the South and received gifts from the king on a yearly basis. All it mainly needed to do was watch over the fields of grain my bakery thrived off of, and not poison the land. This is also how the once timid NPC that was mainly just there for healing became a bakery tycoon and a wealthy noble that was friends with the Green Scourge of the South. And is now also the main way the party is earning money even to this day. The fighter ended up fighting with the group about the fairness of me, a one-time player, ruining his plan of one-shotting a dragon and earning the weapon of the kingdom, which by the way was Dragon's Bane, that was later given to my character, as the fighter got a better weapon later anyways. From reading over this story, I can tell you all here, in my opinion, the main character here is OP themselves. The writer of this story and everything they did was literally such a derivative way of stealing the entire campaign away from everybody when you just came in to be a guest character. You went in there to help them and be just a friendly healer, and you stole an item from the fighter, completely derailed everything, and the DM must have either been planning this with you, screw over all of his players, and especially that fighter. I mean, if I was the fighter, I would be upset too if someone new came in and every single action they took was against me. And sure, I know what everyone's gonna say, but in a previous video, didn't you talk about how everyone should be nice to new players and make them feel welcome? Yeah, but you shouldn't be nice to new players when they come in and act like a dick. Alright, I've had enough of this. Enough of this story, enough talking for today. I'm gonna go to bed. Let's wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you have any stories you would like to have read here on the channel, please share them to the email in the description below. Also, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe, it would help us greatly to slay the monster known as the algorithm. Also, if you're looking for more great horror stories like these, please click the link at the end of this video. Thank you from all of us here at Goblins and Gremlins.